School of Management Studies IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course MMPC 003 Business Environment. Presenting Block 1 Introduction to Business Environment, Unit-1 Introduction to Business and Environment, Part-1. Learners, in Part-1, we will discuss about Introduction, Business and Environment, Basic Propositions. Let's listen to Part 1.
Introduction to Business and Environment. After reading this unit, you will be able to understand and define what you mean by environment, explain the concept of business environment, describe the scope of business environment, and understand the basic concepts of microeconomics. Introduction. You may have a variety of reasons for studying this course, but the main reason, we presume, is to become a successful manager. Your success or failure as a manager depends on a number of factors, and these factors may not always be within your control. Very often, such factors constitute your work environment. These include your job, your department, your organization, your nation, and the world around you. After all, as a manager, you do not function in a vacuum. You exist and operate within and not without an environment. Therefore, as a manager, when you think or take decisions, you cannot neglect the limitations of your environment. Just think for a while and then answer. Don't you arrive at decisions after examining the possible reactions from the environment in which you are placed? Say, as a marketing manager, would you not study your market environment before launching a new product? Or, as a finance manager, would not you study how the capital and money markets of the country are structured and organized before deciding on the sources and uses of your funds? Or, as a personal manager, wouldn't you care to find the rules and regulations laid down by the government on subjects like reservation before undertaking recruitment and selection of your required staff? When you have answered these questions, you will discover that all your answers are in the affirmative. Yes, I would. You can't do without thinking about your environment. As a business manager, you have to constantly evaluate your business environment. This opening unit aims to set you thinking about 3 ideas. It aims to help you to, first, precisely define environment. Second, classify your business environment on the basis of some criteria. Third, identify some of the critical elements of environment of business. And lastly, establish the nature of interaction between environment and business. In pursuing these aims and objectives, our focus will primarily be on the Indian environment of business. We shall try to identify, describe, and analyze the Indian situation to understand its impact on our business. Our ultimate purpose is to train our business managers to face the micro-level environment of business. As managers, whenever you are, be it in the public or the private sector, you have to remain alive and alert to your environment so that you are successful in your day-to-day business operations. Business and environment. The term environment refers to the totality of all the factors which are external to and beyond the control of individual business enterprises and their managements. Environment furnishes the macro context, the business firm is the micro unit. The environmental factors are essentially the givens within which firms and their managements must operate. For example, the value system of society, the rules and regulations laid down by the government, the monetary policies of the central bank, the institutional setup of the country, the ideological beliefs of the leaders, the attitude towards foreign capital and enterprise, etc., all constitute the environment system within which a business firm operates. These environmental factors are many in numbers and various in form. Some of these factors are totally static, some are relatively static, and some are very dynamic. They are changing every now and then. Some of these factors can be conceptualized and quantified, while others can be only referred to in qualitative terms. Thus, the environment of business is an extremely complex phenomenon. The environmental factors generally vary from country to country. The environment that is typical of India may not be found in other countries like the USA, the former USSR, the UK, and Japan. Similarly, the American, Soviet, British, Japanese environments may not be found in India. There may be some factors in common, but the order and intensity of the environmental factors do differ between nations. What to say of countries? The magnitude and direction of environmental factors differ over regions within a country and over localities within a region. Thus, one may talk of local, regional, national, and international environment of business. For example, the local custom of coolie labor, the climate of the northern region of Assam, the policies of the state and the central governments in India, and the size of the world market, all of these factors together will have an important bearing on tea industry. The production, consumption, and marketing of tea will be affected by environmental factors. The environment differs not only over space but also over time within a country, such as we can talk of temporal patterns of environment, that is, past, present, and future environment. Future environment is the product of past and present environments. The Indian economy of tomorrow will be influenced by what the state of the economy is at present and what it was in the past. Sometimes the environment may be classified into market environment and non-market environment depending upon whether a business firm's environment is influenced by market forces like demand, supply, number of other firms, and the resulting price competition or non-price competition, etc., or by non-market forces like government laws, social traditions, etc. Finally, we may classify the environment into economic and non-economic. Non-economic environment refers to social, political, legal, educational, and cultural factors that affect business operations. Economic environment, on the other hand, is given shape and form by factors like the fiscal policy, the monetary policy, the industrial policy resolution, physical limits on output, the price and income trends, the nature of the economic system at work, the tempo of economic development, the national economic plan, etc. The non-economic environment has economic implications, just the economic environment may have non-economic implications. Since the environment is the sum total of the history, geography, culture, sociology, politics, and economics of a nation, the interaction between economic and non-economic forces is bound to take place. Definition of business environment. The word business environment is defined by many authors in different ways. Few of the definitions are as follows. According to Keith Davis, business environment is the aggregate of all conditions, events, and influences that surround and affect it. According to Rennick and Skoll, the environment of a business consists of all those external things to which it is exposed and by which it may be influenced directly or indirectly. According to Barry M. Richman and Melvin Copen, environment consists of factors that are largely, if not totally, external and beyond the control of individual industrial enterprises and their management. These are essentially the givers within which firms and their management must operate in a specific country, and they vary often greatly from country to country. According to William F. Glueck, business environment is the process by which strategists monitor the economic, governmental market, supplier, technological, geographic, and social settings to determine opportunities and threats to their firms. All of these definitions give a better understanding of the business environment. It can be concluded that a business environment is a combination of dynamic, complex, and uncontrollable external factors within which a business is to be operated. It is pertinent to scan all these forces. Hence, it is crucial to have a thorough understanding of the basic idea of the business environment and the nature of its different components. This interrelation assists the business organization to reinforce its capacities and efficiently allocate its resources. Business organizations interact and transact with the business environment. Therefore, business organization and business environment are directly related. Business environment influences the scope and direction of business activity. Business can be seen as a specific activity, that is, a retail business in which a company is making use of the internet and social media for marketing of their products. For example, Flipkart is a specific form of business and is a private limited company. Business can also be seen as a broad activity like a business system as a whole, where we may refer it as a market system or capitalism in which a whole range of activities, including professional bodies, trade unions, consumer groups, regulatory agencies, and government bodies are included. In early 2050, Nestle famous product Maggi noodles faced a setback in India when food inspectors claimed to have found it unsafe as the amount of lead was more than its permissible limits. But Nestle tried its best to keep consumer trust by continuously interacting with them on social media platforms and ensuring that Maggi is safe and they are cooperating with the authorities. Later, Maggi was temporarily banned in India, and Nestle was asked by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India to recall its noodles products from the market and destroy them. It's hugely impacted their revenues and profits, as Maggi was one of the most popular products in India. In the second half of 2015, fresh batch of Maggi was tested and it was allowed to sell again. But lead controversy adversely affected the trust of consumers, and it took lots of promotional strategies to regain the lost revenue. it launched emotional campaign #WeMissYouToo on all social media platforms to revive the bond between consumers and Maggi brand. It took them some time to revive from the losses and gain pre-ban market share. Basic propositions. As a prelude to the description and analysis of the business environment in any economy, you may examine 3 basic propositions given below. First, business is an economic activity. Second, a business firm is an economic unit. Third, business decision making is an economic process. These propositions may be examined separately or jointly to satisfy the study of the environment of business in any country. Business is an economic activity. An economic activity involves the task of adjusting the means, that is, resources, to the ends, that is, the targets, or the ends to the means. An economic activity may assume different forms such as consumption, production, distribution, and exchange. The nature of business differs depending upon the form of economic activity being undertaken and organized. For example, manufacture is primarily concerned with production. The stock exchange business is mainly concerned with the buying and selling of shares and debentures. The business of government is to run the administration. The government may also own, control, and manage public enterprises. The business of banks is to facilitate transactions with short-term and long-term funds. These examples can be easily multiplied. The point to be noted is that each business has a target to achieve, and for this purpose, each business has some resources at its disposal. Sometimes the target has to be matched with the given resources, and sometimes the resources have to be matched with the given target. Either way, the task of business is to optimize the outcome of economic activities. A business firm is an economic unit. A business firm is essentially a transformation unit. It transforms unit into outputs of goods or services or a combination of both. The nature of input, requirements, and the type of output flows are determined by the size, structure, location, efficiency of the business firm under consideration. Business firms may be of different sizes and forms. They may undertake different types of activities such as mining, manufacture, farming, trading, transport, banking, etc. The motivational objective underlying all these activities is the same, viz. Profit maximization in the long run. Profit is essentially a surplus value. The value of outputs in excess of the values of inputs or the surplus of revenue over the cost. A business firm undertakes the transformational process to generate this surplus plus. The firm can grow further if the surplus value is productively invested. The firm, therefore, carefully plans the optimum allocation of resources, that is, men, money, material, machines, time, energy, etc., to get optimum production. The entire process of creating, mobilization, and utilization of the surplus constitutes the economic activity of the business firm. Business decision making is an economic process. Decision making involves making a choice from a set of alternative courses of action. Choice is at the root of all economic activity. The question of choice An evaluation arises because of the relative scarcity of resources. If the resources had not been scarce, an unlimited amount of ends could have been met. But the situation of resources constraint is very real. A business firm thinks seriously about the optimum allocation of resources because resources are limited in supply and most resources have alternative uses. The firm therefore intends to get the best out of given resources or to minimize the use of resources for achieving a specific target. In other words, when input is the constraining factor, the firm's decision variable is the output. And when output is the constraining factor, the firm's decision variable is the input. Whatever may be the decision variable, procurement or production, distribution or sale, input or output, decision making is invariably the process of selecting the best available alternative, and that is what makes it an economic pursuit. Nature and scope of business environment. Every organization operates in a certain kind of environment. Each organization has sub-opportunities and threats associated with various forces which may be external or internal in nature. Nature of business environment. First, dynamic. Business environments such as internal and external business environments are highly flexible and keep on changing. For example, changing customer preferences, new competitors entering into the market, novel technology, new marketing channels, new government policies, and changing demography. Second, uncertain. It is very difficult to presume with any degree of certainty about the factors influencing the business environment because they continue to fluctuate very quickly. Third, complex. The business environment is complex as it is continuously exposed to uncertain challenges such as technological disruptions, global competition, leadership change, shifting economic, social and regulatory conditions, etc. It may be easy to scan the environment, but its impact on business decisions will be difficult to estimate. It is very difficult for a firm to survive and prosper in such an uncertain environment. Fourth, relativity. The business environment is associated with societal norms and local conditions, and this is the reason why the business environment varies from country to country, region to region, which makes it more complex. Fifth, interrelation. All the factors and forces of the business environment are related to each other. For instance, with the proclivity of youth towards Western culture, the demand for fast food is also rising. Take another example. Change in political parties will result in changing monetary policy, fiscal policies, government rules, market conditions, technology, etc. Thus, all these factors are required to be scanned properly as these factors are interrelated to each other. Scope of business environment. First, internal and external environment. Internal environment means those factors that are within an organization and influence the strength or weakness of the business. For example, superior raw material, inefficient human resources, etc. External environment means those factors which are beyond the control of the business and are outside the organization. They provide opportunities and pose threats to business. For example, changing political and economic conditions, technological changes, etc. Second, micro-environment and macro-environment. Sometimes internal and external environment are interchangeably referred to as micro and macro environment respectively. Microenvironment affects the working of a particular business. It directly impacts business activities and incorporates customers, suppliers, market intermediaries, competitors, etc. These factors are controllable to some extent. Macro environment is the general environment that impacts the working of all businesses. It is uncontrollable and influences directly. Political conditions, economy, technology, etc. are part of the macro environment. For example, technological advancement such as blockchain, artificial intelligence have changed the face of business operations. Third, controllable and uncontrollable environment. All of these factors which are governed by business come under a controllable environment. Internal factors are also treated as controllable factors such as money, men, materials, machines, etc. Uncontrollable factors are external and are beyond the control of business, namely global, technological, legal, and natural changes. For example, recent corona pandemic is a major example of uncontrollable factor. The pandemic has hugely impacted the businesses and led to changes in strategies of operations. Fourth, specific and general environment. Specific environment refers to external forces that directly influence business enterprises' decisions and action and are directly pertinent for the achievement of organizational goals. The main forces that include this specific environment are customers, suppliers, competitors, and pressure groups. General environment refers to the economic, politico-legal, socio-cultural, technological, demographic, and global conditions that influence organizations. These external forces or factors impact organizations indirectly, and organizations must plan, organize, lead, and control their activities by incorporating these factors.
You are listening to audiobook by School of Management Studies IGNOU for MBA program. Course code MMPC 003 Business Environment Unit-1 Part-1. Course Coordinator Professor Neeti Agrawal from School of Management Studies IGNOU. Voiceover by Santosh Bharati. Edited by Tarannum Jahan. Program assisted by Jagbandhu Jana. And program produced by Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.